Hello and welcome to the 2019 season of Virtual GP. We're back for a fifth season with more drivers, more races, but a somewhat familiar format compared to last year. One thing that hasn't changed though, my name is Justin and I'm joined by Chris.
A great pleasure to be back alongside your good self, but for a great organisation, commentating on some amazing races, covering some incredible cars.
Yep, so we've got 22 drivers with 11 teams, so 2 drivers per teams this season with 2 separate classes. We've got the VGP1 Elite with a lot of names that people are going to remember, and VGP2 as well. New format, 13 events total, 9 online races, 3 studio events, and then the event at the end of the season at the 4 games event as well. 2 point scoring system. Online races will be a little bit lower with 10 points for the win, 1 point for overall fastest lap, and the studio races will give a little bit extra points with 25 championship points for winning that point and double points for the finale as well too.
So starting off the season, once again we are in the beautiful growling AMG GT3, introduced in 2015. It is 1,265 kilograms, 520 brake horsepower under the right foot. It's such an iconic car for this series and also for Mercedes-Benz. It's such a lovely vehicle to be able to commentate on.
And let's take a look at the calendar. As we already know, we're in Imola for the first round. Then we're going to be heading to the Red Bull Ring and Laguna Seca in the GT3 cars with the finale at Macau. We're going to be at Paul Ricard in France and the Nürburgring and Donington as well. An interesting track seeing there. Okayama as well, another interesting one. Road America, Spa, and Monza as well, all on the calendar. Let's have a quick look at the teams for the Predator team. We, of course, have Michael Schmidl making his return with Wojtek Jelinek. We're going to have to get used to these names again. Martin Stefenko is going to be driving for the Benzina team alongside Peter Lischka will be the rookie for the Benzina car. A lovely red, white, and blue livery on that one. Legion making their return with Michael Blazek, of course, one of the highlights of last season with Hoshek in the rookie car for that one. And on Smarty, we've got Klebets and Bushek is the rookie for them.
Representing the new Forza team is Martin Kostlik, who was 9th in, with a strong showing towards the end of last season, alongside rookie Peter Kujala. For ASA in their lovely bright green car is Wojciech Polesny being joined by returning full-time driver Pavel Riegel. Jan Sikora is joined by Jaroslav Prohaska, the second of the Prohaska names in the newly established RE Studio team. There's the second Prohaska in the form of Thomas alongside racing legend Thomas Koreni for the Sport team. Anton Kazanik and Shimon Kavacic join us for the Logitech car in the blue and black liveried car. Lucas and David Chada join us in the Thrustmaster car. Pair of rookies, the brothers, will be sporting the black and red Thrustmaster livery. Jan Frabis returns with us, this time alongside Sherman Hetnecki for the Avast car on the pink and orange livery. Starting the season once again is the lovely Italian circuit of Imola. Just shy of 5 kilometers, 17 turns is what our drivers have to deal with. Nice temperatures, 25 degrees on the track, 18 in the air. Lovely clear day, and this is how qualifying stands.
Michael Schmidl resumes where he finished last season, taking pole position, and Martin Stefenko resuming his position in second place, just 3.5 tenths between them. Wojtek Polesny, though, within half a second of Michael Schmidl, so it's very close up at the top. Looking a little bit further down, we do see that 20 drivers are within 2 seconds. So it is very, very close in qualifying. We can see some of the VGP1 drivers even being beaten out in qualifying by the VGP2 drivers, which we are expecting to see a bit of that this season. We've heard there's quite a bit of back and forth between these guys as far as pace is concerned. So we do expect some of the VGP1 guys to get out-qualified and even outpaced during the race by the VGP2 guys. We do have a lot of cars on circuit. That is an absolutely incredible number of cars as the lights are coming on now for the first race of VGP 2019, and they're away. Michael Schmidl on that front row with Stefanko alongside him, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to try and keep track of all of the action that's going on. We're used to much smaller grids here in VGP, but now we have all of these cars, 22 cars streaming in. I'll tell you one person who's not coming under a threat though, Chris, and that is Michael Schmidl. He holds that lead into the first corner at the start of this race. But the other Benzina car of Lishka with a bit of a tap there. He does manage to hold on to it and doesn't lose too much time or positions there, so good hold there.
Yeah, and this is the danger, of course, with bigger grid is a lot more scrapping, which is great for us as commentators, but something that our drivers really have to be careful of. Here's Lishka for the Benzina team. He's still side-by-side. They're coming towards Toza, and that's difficult to be side-by-side so many corners without taking one each other off. But once again, the double S is up front. Schmidl leading Stefanko, Pelesny right with him. Klebets, great start for him and the Smarty team joins them. And then you've got Blazek for the Legion team, Kostely for the newly established Forza team, as that is Kazanik that's gone off at the Paratella. He's going to lose some positions as a result, and that's put him right under pressure by Kujala, one of the lead F2 drivers at the moment, as they now stream towards the Variante Alta. They've got to navigate that one right. Oh my goodness, coming 4 wide in one of the most tightest areas of the track. Oh, someone's going to have to blink. Goodness me, that could have gone horribly, horribly wrong. But on they go. Looks like they've made it through okay. No major incidents in that particular. Look at this. That's a lot of the F2 field are really scrapping hard for position, and I really hope we've got this for the rest of the race. Oh, that's currently making a move on the inside of Ravazza. Great effort there. Doesn't look like there's been any major argy-bargy going on. Brilliantly driven by our drivers.
Fantastic, absolutely incredible. We're only one lap into the 2019 season, and already it's unlike anything we've seen before, aside from the fact that Schmidl and Stefanko are leading the way. So we do have the familiar names up at the front, but we go on board with Kostulik, who, as Chris mentioned earlier, had a fantastic season last year compared to his 2017 season. Really doing well. Prohaska, though, a bit further down, currently in 18th position as it stands right now. Oh, we've got a spinner at the back, actually. I think that was Hoshek going for a spin in the Legion car. It is indeed Hoshek, who is going to lose a lot of time, so that's going to put him right down at the back of the grid. Still with just under 40 minutes of racing still to go here, but we're on board with Pavel Rigel in that lovely Acer car. I have to say, I absolutely love the paint job on that car. It really does look fantastic. That's for the lower positions, but we rejoin Kostulik, who is onto the back of Blazek for that top 5 position as it stands right now, just making their way out of Aqua Minerale. But this is the view for Schmidl, and we can see, crucially, after just under a couple of laps of racing, he really has not been able to pull away from Stefanko too much.
Magic Michael once again having to fend off the advances of the of Martin Stefanko, this time in the Benzina coloured car. Then you got Pelesny, that's mentioned there, that beautifully bright green Acer car. Yeah, it looks like Schmidl's going to have to work for it this time. Here's Michael Blazek. We saw how well he was able to defend pretty much against anyone in anything last season. So that was a great effort for him, and looking back at him, he's staring into the front grille of Kostulik as they continue to chase down the field. There's Lishka, who's looking at a big field of cars, and look at that again, still side by side. In the F2 category, there's a lot of that. As eventually they're going to go single file, you would think. Goodness me, that's very close. The Benzina car getting very close to the Avast car. That's Hernecki. Oh, well driven there. Was only just able to take the racing line there, but there's Blanchek. He's fallen a little bit off the back of Klebitz and the Smarty car, but look at that, the top 4, not one of them is more than a second apart. Then you've got a bit of a gap. It's 2.1 seconds, which is not a great deal considering there's well over half an hour of racing to go. So that can change in a heartbeat. We saw Hosek having a bit of a spin. That goes to show how quickly it can change. Here is Kostalik, who's putting all the pressure in the world on Blanchek at the moment. Now coming through Akku Minerali. Oh, he's bouncing over the middle bar. Klebitz, he's having a great initial race here in the Smarty car, trying to make his way past Polesny. There's not all that many big braking zones here, so overtaking is you've got to really plan it in advance. But now heading down towards Ravassa. Is he going to make a move on the inside? It's quite dangerous to do. It's a downhill braking zone. It's very easy to overshoot this. No, he's far wiser than that. He's going to pick his moment as best he can. His next opportunity is really going to be either Trigado or Toza. So then following suit, and still Stefenko, he's not letting go to the back of the Predator car of Smidl. Polesny is falling a little bit off the back of Stefenko, but anything can change in the blink of an eye here at Imola.
Yeah, 2 by 2 as they go. Schmidl and Stefenko, then Polesny and Klebitz, then Blanchek and Kostalik, and actually Frabish and Thomas Prohaska as well, doing a bit of battling as well for 7th position, as we actually cut to that fantastic editing right there as we cut to that battle for 7th position. But Frabish doing a great job of holding up. Thomas Prohaska, not with the best of seasons last year in 2018, but you have to say off to a good start in the top 10 as it stands right now, and applying lots of pressure as well to Jan Frabish in that Avast car for 7th position. So as I mentioned before, kind of 2 by 2 is what we're seeing as the gaps sort of spread out between 2nd and 3rd, 4th and 5th, and down like that. But still lots of racing still to go, and it does seem that the soft tire is the tire of choice for most of these guys. Oh, we've got Bushek and Pichata going side by side. The Thrustmaster car with the inside line into the left-hander here is going to come out on top. And Pichata in 12th position. Oh, but he's coming back at him, actually. That's an incredible exit out of that corner. And then around the outside into the Aqua Minerale. A fantastic move for the Smarty driver of Bushek. Great job there. As we go a little bit further back, this is the battle for 16th position with Pavel Reigl defending in that lovely green Acer car. And is he going to feel the need to go defensive into this chicane? No, not quite, as Prohaska not quite able to pull alongside with him. So he will continue on as he was, but we rejoin this battle for 12th position, very close to one another, with the Thrustmaster and Smarty car going side by side at multiple times during the course of this lap, and we expect that's not going to change, but we definitely need to focus on this, as we've already got, oh man, we're not even 15 minutes into the season, and we've already got Stefenko starting to pile that pressure onto Schmidl. They built about a 1.5 second gap down to Polesny in 3rd, but Stefenko's definitely going on the offensive here.
Absolutely. It's worth noting that in a pre-season test race that vast majority of this field held, it was actually Stefenko that won it. Granted, it was in the 190E car that we'll see later in the season, but it just goes to show that Stefenko hasn't lost anything. He hasn't lost any of his... Well, the only thing he's lost is weight. He's done brilliantly well.
That's right.
To trim himself down, as you'll see in that profile picture there. It wasn't like he was huge before, but he's done a brilliant job there. It just goes to show his dedication. And Smidl, of course, picking up where he left off. And there was 3/10, I believe, it was his pole advantage, but Stefenko absolutely nailed to the tyre tracks of Michael Smidl at the moment. Polesny and Lebets continue their battle behind, and that's only 1.3 apart, so the next pair haven't fallen too far behind Smidl and Stefenko. And again, what we're seeing here is very tactical driving from the pair of them. They haven't, we're not seeing Smidl defending fresh air. We're not seeing Stefenko going for wild, unpredictable or unbelievable moves. Stefenko doing what he does best, and what he, certainly practice a lot of, is waiting for, piling the pressure on and seeing what mistake he can force Smidl into. He chased Smidl pretty much every race last season, and I'm sure he's willing to do what he can to overcome that difference this season.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be pushing hard. As you said, he's lost. I mean, he's in the best shape of his life. I'm sure he's feeling good mentally as well too. So Stefenko is absolutely going to be a threat, as he's already proven in this race. But let's have a look at the Logitech car of Korony, and he's trying to get past Bushek in the Smarty car. Oh, and actually, excuse me, that's the Spurt car, but he is going to move past him there. They're going to be side by side coming out of Tamburello, but we do have some more side by side action. Blazek might actually lose the position to Kostulik. Kostulik's done it around the outside at Tosa. That is a fantastic move for Martin Kostulik, and he moves himself up into the top 5 as well too. Big gap ahead, so I'm not sure how much more he's going to be move ahead, at least in the immediate foreseeable future. But Blazek was an absolute master of defending in 2018, but here we can see Kostulik already overcoming that, moving himself into the top 5. That's a fantastic move for Kostulik.
What a cracker on the outside of Tosa. Exactly as you say. There is... oh, wow, that's close. Chada coming through. Oh, wow. Can't actually see from that camera angle. Oh, Blazek's trying to get that position back again. Oh, this is going to be side-by-side coming down into Ravazza. Blazek's going to have the inside line, but Kostulik has already proven he can stick it around the outside and make it work for him. Oh, big punch in the face for Kostulik. Oh, and that's dropped him behind Jan Frabisch and thrown him right into the clutches of Prohaska. Oh, Thomas Prohaska, and there's 2 of them, and I have to identify which one we're talking about in the sport car. So here they come. We're going to have a pair of side-by-sides. Blazek again, forcing Frabisch onto the grass, trying to defend their particular position. Goodness me, as they come into Trigado, still side-by-side, and looks like Blazek's lost out that position finally to Frabisch, but that's brought Kostulik and Prohaska in. And, is there going to be another move? No, not quite. You really have got to be committed if you're going to make a move into the Villeneuve chicane. But what that's also done, that is brought in, or is bringing in, Kazanik, who's behind them in the Logitech car. Brilliant stuff. That is 5th down to 9th in real short succession.
I was talking up Kostulik after that incredible move, and then he loses 2 positions, and Frabisch gains 2 positions, and all in the space of about half a lap or so. And Blazek finds himself in 6th position once again, but this time he's behind the Avast car instead of the Forza car. And as you mentioned, Thomas Prohaska and Kazanik as well, in the Logitech car, really not far off, making this a 5-way battle currently for 5th position, with a pretty healthy gap, we have to say, now starting to form between the top 4 and the rest of the field as we get into about half an hour remaining in this race, plus 1 lap. Here we go, Blazek with a fantastic exit out of that chicane. Is he going to be side-by-side with the Avast car through this high-speed right-hander? No, he decides for a late braking maneuver, though, into the left-hander, and it looks like he's going to get it done, actually. Blazek moves himself back up into the top 5, and Kostulik as well is going to muscle his way through up into 6th position. The Avast car having to swerve over to the left-hand side. Better exit, though, for the Avast car. That's going to see Kostulik drop back down. Here comes Prohaska now. He is definitely getting involved in this fight, and Kazanik as well, really not far behind, as I mentioned. And it looks like someone was getting blocked off there. Just behind. Some contact as well too. Oh, and the Avast car is off. Frabisch is off from 5th. Now down into 8th position. Actually, no, 9th position behind the Logitech car. So that is going to lose Frabisch quite a bit of time. However, he's got to be feeling pretty good after that scrap, coming out in 5th position, even though he's lost some time. There's still lots of racing still to go, and I imagine he's going to be feeling pretty good about his chances to get a nice haul of points here. And here is Kazanik in that Logitech car, now up into 8th position, and right onto the back of Prohaska. Meanwhile, a little bit further down, the Avast car is going to try it around the outside. And we can see a replay here of what exactly happened. Yeah, you can see him run wide there, and that's how he lost those positions, and it's just really unfortunate for him. But, oh my gosh, this is not a race for the claustrophobic. Holy cow, there's just millimeters between them there.
And they're not exactly doing the speed limit either. That's absolutely amazing driving. Yeah, it was a bit of a shame for Frabisch there being sort of shunted off a bit by Prohaska as they were coming through the Trigado Tamburello section, but that is the nature of close quarters racing, unfortunately. But on they go, plenty of time to close that. Back down! Goodness me, Liska, that's... I wonder whether he missed his braking spot there. He went for a very early apex, but I think that was possibly an avoidance move there to not slam into the back of the second Schade brother. As they come down into... Whoa! And there he goes again!
Whoa.
I think whether he's missing his braking points, whether he's just either closing in quicker than he's expecting, but that was most certainly a avoidance maneuver there in Rivazza. Once again, though, Stefanko and Smidl still doing their dance. 2 seconds separates them and the next pair of Polesny and Clements.
It's like there's a magnet on their cars. I mean,
or a rope.
Yeah, it's just absolutely incredible. And I have to say, shout out to Polesny and Klebets as well for keeping up too. I mean, they're really maintaining that gap to the top two. So I mean, I'm not going to discount either of them from a possible race victory here. Now, moving a little bit further back to the midfield, Bushek in that Smarty car in 12th position, just outside the top 10, running behind one of the Pichata brothers in that Thrustmaster car. He's running fairly close, you have to say. And is he going to fancy a move here? No, he's a couple of car lengths back, getting into the left-hander at the top of the hill as they now descend down into Aqua Minerale, and it's about 1 car length between them now. Can he get a good enough exit here to possibly mount an attack into the chicane? It's one of the better overtaking locations here at Imola, although I struggle to think of any corner that's a really good overtaking location at Imola, to be totally honest. But no, not able to pull alongside into the chicane. We'll have to sit behind in 12th position for the moment, but it is looking rather close for these kind of final points-paying positions, you have to say, or just outside the points-paying positions, even in the case of these drivers. But just over 26 minutes remaining in this race, plus 1 lap, and it's still very, very close. The biggest gap at the moment is between the top 4 and the rest of the field. So it really seems Schmidl, Stefanko, Polesny, and Chlebets have all come to Imola here today for the first race of VGP 2019. Just that little bit more prepared than everyone else.
So through the chicanes once again then, as Bushek doing what he can to stay with this pack. What an opening race we've seen so far. We've still got over 25 minutes to go, and look how close this pack is. I mean, we were kind of warned before the season began, looking at how the qualifying rounds went, and just general feeling of these drivers before the season began, that this is exactly what to expect. And wow, are these guys not disappointing. We're seeing a few nervous moments from some drivers, which is absolutely to be expected. I mean, this is a big, prestigious thing that they're going for, and very big prizes on the line. But some of the moves have been absolutely amazing. Some of the driving has been spectacular. So all credit to our drivers, veteran and new. Oh, just as I say that, Bushek's the tail on his car just decides to let go. That was perfect timing. Well done.
It really was. Worth pointing out as well that we have on the timing screens on the left-hand side for the viewers out there, you can see who is VGP1 and who is VGP2 based on the color. So the dark ones like Schmidl down to Frabish, those are all VGP1, which means Kuzella is actually Kujella is the leading VGP2 car at the moment. But here we go. Between Sikora and I think is that Kovacic? Yeah, it is. This is for 14th position, and he does move ahead. So Sikora is actually the lowest down of the VGP1 drivers at the moment, finding himself currently now in 14th position, and now running behind that Smarty car of Bushek, who we saw lose the back end coming out of Aqua Minerale. So Sikora, I imagine, is going to be hoping for bigger results as they continue on throughout the season, and indeed throughout this race, because again, we are not even halfway through this first race from Imola, so we will definitely keep monitoring Sikora and all the other VGP1 drivers. But the VGP2 drivers as well are all out there to get that win, and Kujella, as I said, running ahead of 3 VGP1 drivers at the moment, definitely making a little bit of a name for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. A great stage to make your name on. But he's being chased by, here we go. It's one of the VGP1 drivers slightly out of position. That's being Lucas Pichada for the Thrustmaster team. But gotta say, Kujella is doing a brilliant job. It's not like he's holding him up. It's not like, he's... that Pichada is struggling to find a way past. That is just genuine pace that Kujella is showing. That's certainly one to keep an eye on as the season progresses. And so it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the F2 drivers mix it in with the elites, with the established veterans. But if this is anything to go by, we're in for a fantastic season ahead of us.
Yeah, this is really good stuff. Pichata with a bit of wheel spin, actually, it seemed, coming out of that final corner there. That could prevent any sort of hope he had of mounting an attack into the first corner. As we've mentioned, so difficult to make the overtake at Imola, but we rejoin Kostalik, who is behind Blazak once again. Let's see if he can get close enough on the run down towards turn 5 to mount an attack into Tosa once again. It looks like he's lost a little bit of time to the Legion car there, so I don't think he's going to be mounting an attack on this particular occasion. And indeed, he does follow behind Michael Blazek. And again, they have a big gap up ahead, so this really is just a battle between these two guys. They built a little bit of a gap as well down to Thomas Prohaska in the Spurt car, who has Frabish for pretty close company in that Avast car in 8th position. So still no massive gaps outside of that top 4. So it is still running very, very close. Oh, and Pichata has unfortunately gone for a spin. So the VGP1 driver for the Thrustmaster team finds himself in the dirt and sand, and that is going to lose him tons of positions. Actually, that's going to drop him right down into 4th position behind Kovacic in that Logitech car. Meanwhile, the battle for 3rd position between Polesny and Hlebets, that seems to be hotting up. But we switch back over to the battle for 12th. Sikora, who gained a couple of positions. He's now up into 12th, but he is being absolutely hounded here by Kovacic in that Logitech car. So we could have a battle here at the end of the start-finish straight between these two. Really, he wants a really nice solid exit out of that final corner. It looks like he's done that, actually. He's going to pick up a bit of slipstream here, hugging that inside line, nearly touching the Armco as they make their way across the start-finish line now. And we can see Kovacic he's gaining, but I don't know if he's gaining enough, and it's just not enough of a braking zone into turn 2, is it, for him to actually make a maneuver here, so he's going to stay behind for now.
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward one coming into Dragado. It's a braking zone on a bend, so you've got to be very careful to keep your own car steady in the first place, and unless you close in very much quicker than the car ahead, it's not really worth trying to force a move. Tosa is going to be a little... Oh, and look at that. You saw Kovacic looked at the inside, but he was very, very convincingly blocked off there by Sikora. Now jumping up to the battle you previously mentioned, Polesny and Hlebets, and up ahead, that's the lead battle that's finally, it's taken 12 laps, and it's finally gotten to a second. Oh my goodness, Polesny is being pushed along the road. The Acer car being pushed by the Smarty car, and no, that is Kovacic as well. So as you can clearly see, as we've had all race long battles here, there, and everywhere, and you saw Polesny, he had to dive for that apex very early. He wasn't certain that Hlebets wasn't going to throw that on the inside or Ravazza. Very well defended, but Hlebets does look like he's got the pace over Polesny at the moment. Again, look at that. He's seeing defensive moves going on all over the place. Now side by side, but that's going to force Hlebets to the outside for Dragado, and he's going to have to be a hell of a move if he's going to make it. No, he wasn't alongside enough. He knew he couldn't make it stick. He made the wiser decision to back out of that. Otherwise, probably both of them would have ended up in the sand. So nicely done. Smart move by the Smarty driver.
Nail-biting stuff. I mean, this car is equipped with all of the modern stuff that you would want in a racing car to try and keep the nose pointing in the right direction, keep the wheels on the tarmac and all of that kind of stuff, but that does not mean that this car is not capable of spinning. I mean, we've seen some offs already in the race. It may be the easier car out of the 3 that we're going to see this season to drive, depending on who you ask. Some might say the 190E is easier to drive, but that's all down to personal preference. But still, very easy to make a mistake and get sent off the road. So, I mean, huge respect between Polesny and Hlebets for that battle, because that was an absolute treat to watch. I had the Christian Horner leg bounce going on while I was watching that one, if I'm totally honest. Kujela running around in 9th position. Again, he is the leading VGP2 car as it stands right now. And we rejoin the battle for 3rd position. Hlebets getting that good exit out of the chicane. Is he going to try and pull alongside once again as they descend the hill into the double left-handers to finish up the lap? He's not going to be close enough, about a car length or so back on that Acer car. I have to say the Acer might be my favorite livery. I'm going to go ahead and say it, first race of the season. I am absolutely in love with that bright lime green color. It is truly fantastic. And with Kostulik in 6th, it's just dawned on me. Kujela 9th, Kostulik 6th. This is a really good race today for Forza. A fantastic result this would be if they were to finish like this. Obviously, they're not doing quite as well as Michael Schmidl or Martin Stefanko, but that is a solid result right there if they were to finish that way. And we are slowly ticking down towards the end of this race. We are now well past the halfway point, less than 17 and a half minutes remaining in this race. And Thomas Prohaska and Martin Kostulik, battling for 6th position here. Excuse me, that's Kostulik and Blazek. I apologize for that one, but still running very, very close. You have to say this battle is definitely far from over. Although, I gotta confess, I thought it was over when Kostulik went around the outside at Tosa. I thought he was going to take off into the distance, but no such luck for him. Blazek proving once again here in 2019 that he is a fighter.
Oh, very much so, and Hlebets means business on the back of the... I agree with you, that's my favourite livery of the bunch. They all look gorgeous. I am particularly keen on the Acer one as well. But Hlebets means business. He means business in his profile picture, and he certainly means it on the road. He has been in the tyre tracks of Polesny all race long. You know, Wojciech Polesny's heart must be up in his mouth at the moment to be under so much pressure. And again, Hlebets looking to make a dive on the inside of Ravazza, whether he's just making himself known in the mirrors or whether he's sizing up a move, obviously only he knows. Also, I'm looking at the gap between Schmidl and Stefanko. That's dropped as well. So Stefanko is starting to get on with it in the Benzina car. He's trying to get back into striking distance of the Predator car of Michael Schmidl. But all respect to these drivers, I would certainly prefer this seat than where certainly Wojciech Polesny is. I wouldn't want Hlebets chasing after me, I know that much.
Not with that stare that he's given off.
No, that's it.
That is some scary stuff to have to contend with, and he's a pretty good driver as well too. Moving back on board with Kovacic actually in the Logitech car, he's running very, very close. To the back of Korny, actually. They could even be side by side. He's going to try it around the outside. We've seen that does not work on the previous occasion earlier in this race. But that is going to give him that little bit more speed coming out of that Tamburello chicane, and he is indeed going to move alongside. He's going to have the inside line into this left-hander as well. Can he be late enough under the brakes? He can't. Interesting. Korny holds on to the position with some very late braking. The Logitech car is going to try around the outside now into Tosa, but again, some very late braking for the Spurt driver is going to see him maintain that position for now. The Logitech with a great exit, though. The Spurt car moving over to the left-hand side of the road. He feels the need to go defensive as they climb up the hill and into the left-hander. They're going to be side by side, just a half a meter or so separating them. The Spurt car takes the lead coming out of the corner, but again, the Logitech car with the better exit means they're going to be side by side down the hill into Aqua Minerale. Surely this means, bumping over the curbing. Is there going to be contact between them? The Spurt car runs wide, carries that little bit more speed as well, but I believe Sikora as well is going to get involved. He's going to be side by side now with the Logitech car into the chicane, but I do believe Kovacic is going to hold on. Yes, he is going to hold on to that position ahead of Sikora. And that is a fantastic bit of battling, and I don't even think it's over. The Logitech car coming back at him at the exit. They're going to be side by side again into the double left-handers to finish out the lap. Less than 15 minutes remaining in this race. He's gone very, very wide. Here comes Sikora as well. He's going to sneak through. Here comes the other Smarty car. He's going to sneak through as well too, and that is a huge mistake for Kovacic. It's going to lose him 2 positions instead of gaining him 1. That's got to be so frustrating.
Absolutely, but he's just got to calm himself down and get back in the rhythm. He's clearly got the pace to do it. Here comes Jan Sikora to then try and climb up the field past Korny to get ahead of the second place F2 driver. It doesn't quite happen as Kovacic has got to fight off Buzek and Rigel, which is no easy feat in itself. And also you got the second Prohaska and the second Charter brothers that's all in there as well. Herdnecki not far behind. So that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the thing is, making a mistake has been rather proven. Oh, wow, I thought that was a change for the lead there. But I was thinking, wow, that came about quick. But no, that's Hosiek in the second leading car. And unfortunately put a lap down. He's struggled a bit here at Imola. But wow, there's so many things going on. But what I was coming on to say was, even if you make a really small mistake, and in fairness, Bušek only ran slightly wide coming through Ravata, but the field is so close in that part of the race. He's lost so much time in that many positions. I'd love to have a spectator seat in that car, in the car of Lucas Brachado at the moment, because look what he can see ahead of him. Amazing racing and so close together.
Incredible stuff. And don't forget to vote for your driver of the day, which is now done on Facebook. Make sure to follow VGP on all of our social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook as well. But vote for your driver of the day. You can vote for your VGP1 and VGP2 drivers of the day. And your driver of the day might be somebody in 11th down to 19th, because it is incredibly close in there. We're seeing lots of battling, lots of changing of position as well too, as we're really starting to get into the tail end of this race. Now it's absolutely flown by. We've had fantastic battles up at the front for the final podium position, for the lead of the race, for the lower points paying positions, the midfields. We've seen some off the circuit as well too. Lots of action in this first race of VGP 2019. Oh, we've got another car off as well too. I wasn't able to see who that was, but they are dropping right down the field. And it looks like that is Bušek. Yeah, Bušek in the Smarty car. Unfortunately, that's going to drop him right down into 19th position. And that's exactly the point I was making, is so tight in that field from 11th down to 19th. One mistake from Bušek, and he finds himself right at the tail of that group.
Yeah, that's how quickly momentum can shift from an offensive move into either a defensive or recovery position that Bušek now finds himself in. But here comes Kovacic, that is still attacking Jan Segura. Jan Segura taking advantage of other people's mistakes earlier to move up to 12th, but is finding himself, instead of attacking Carney, he's very much defending against Kovacic. And right behind them is the second of the Acer and RE Esports cars that is fighting. Oh my goodness, that's Segura taking a very deep line coming out of the Variante Alta. That's unusual. And there's the lead battle again. I mean, they've really have broken away from Polesny and Habits. Behind them, as you can see now, 5.5 seconds there. But Stefanko is absolutely pushing his foot through the floor, through the firewall, and into the engine bay to do what he can to overhaul that Predator car. What was previously Predator Blues. We had two Predator teams last season, and still chasing off after Michael Smidl. But I think it's fair to say Michael Smidl gets a bit of a wiggle on coming out of the Piratella. But I think it's fair to say that Smidl is not finding this a kind of runaway victory. I think he's having to fight for this, and Stefanko is making him fight with everything he's got.
This is exactly what we want to see. We want to see a battle for the lead. They haven't done a lot of side-by-side action, but I think that's more in nature of the drivers than anything else, than the circuit or the cars or anything like that. They're just so evenly matched. For those of you that might be new to VGP, if the 2019 season is your introduction to Virtual GP, then I will tell you now that you should definitely get used to seeing Schmidl and Stefanko battle one another. Although this season we do hope to see Stefanko leading the charge a little bit more often than we did in the previous season. Of course, both drivers heavily involved in the F1 esports as well too. So these guys are sim racers. They're sim racers of multiple disciplines as well too. And the way the season went last year, it didn't go Stefanko's way. Schmidl just taking that early lead and just really dominating the season, if we're totally honest. But Stefanko maybe doing that little bit better in F1 esports, for example. But F1 esports isn't on right now. So does that mean Stefanko has been focusing entirely on VGP? We can only begin to try and imagine what he's been doing in preparation for this, but clearly the difference between these two drivers as far as skill is concerned is as small as it's ever been. And it does happen that Schmidl is the leading car for this opening race around Imola, but who knows if that's going to be the case for round 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. and especially once we change vehicles, because of course the 190E, a completely new car for Virtual GP, and we just have no idea what that's going to do to the grid. We can see that battle for third is raging hard, and this was the moment where Kovacic went really, really wide. That was at the exit of turn 14. You can see him losing that time to the first car, then the Sparty car comes through as well too, and then the Acer car behind him as well, threatening at the exit as well, because he could, of course, couldn't take that racing line through turn 15, so that hindered him through there. And that battle is still going on, actually. Kovacic right onto the back of him into that high-speed left-hander, but not able to make the move. Meanwhile, up at the front, Chlebets is still absolutely hounding that Acer car. Nobody has had a better look at that incredible Acer livery than Chlebets. He's been looking at it all race long, and I imagine he's probably getting tired. I'd say this is about as close as we've seen him all race, less than a car length between them. Surely, Polesny is going to defend the inside line into turn 2. He does indeed. Chlebets is going to try to be brave, but again, we've seen before, it just doesn't work at the outside of turn 2 there, does it?
And that's the problem, and that's exactly what Chlebets has rather proven. Look at the time he's lost. From going to half a car alongside, he's now, nearly a second behind. Oh, that's Kovacic that's gone off the road at Ravazza, and that's Reichel that's gone through in the 80 car. That's Sikora that's gone through as well. Oh, again, one tiny mistake. Kovacic again just running that tiny bit wide. Oh, and that is Prohaska and Pchada behind him, coming together slightly. That could have gone horribly wrong at that speed, but both of them surviving to take another corner. We have less than 7 minutes to go. We've done 20 laps. Oh no, that's who's that? Is that?
I think that's Prohaska. I think that. Yep.
Oh, it was indeed Jaroslav Prohaska. Again, just one mistake. That was a bit of a bigger mistake coming through Chigado. Oh, that's Hernecki in the Avas car. He's alongside, or trying to be alongside, Lucas Pchada in the Thrustmaster car, trying to come through Toza. It's incredible how much battling we have. Again, the nature of having that many more cars on the field. But the skill level, for exactly as you were stating earlier, the skill difference between Schmidl and Stefanko is very narrow. Look at the timings alone, and you can't say it's one car causing a train. It's an incredible amount of fighting going on, and for the vast majority of it, very clean and very efficiently done. Brilliant stuff.
Absolutely incredible. This is a fantastic opening race for 2019. Really couldn't ask for much better. Aside from maybe, like I said before, just some more side-by-side action between Schmidl and Stefanko. But again, that's just the nature of the type of drivers that they are. Stefanko isn't going to try a crazy dive bomb maneuver into turn 14 like we've seen from some other drivers. That's not his style, and Schmidl knows that as well too. Not only are these guys extremely evenly matched, but they are also very practiced in racing one another. Schmidl and Stefanko have been racing each other for quite literally years at this point, so they really know each other. They're not really throwing up too many surprise moves or anything like that, as we do focus on our leading cars. Less than 5 minutes remaining until the final lap of this race. Kazanik in that leading Logitech car, though, coming under heavy offense from Thomas Prohaska in the Spurt car, the VGP1 Spurt driver. It looks like he's gotten that better exit, actually, out of Tosa on the run up the hill. And is he going to be able to do it around the outside? That would be a very impressive move if he was indeed. And the Logitech car does barely move ahead, but he's going to run very wide. Does Kazanik? Oh! And he holds on to it just about, but that is going to allow Thomas Prohaska in the Spurt car to move ahead and up into P9, but did he get the exit he needed out of Aqua Minerale? I think they might be side by side on the run down towards the chicane. They are indeed. The Logitech car is trying it up the inside. That's a tough place to go side by side. Is he going to run deep? Yes, he is. He does run deep, and I think that's going to be enough for Thomas Prohaska to kind of cement that overtake, and he is going to move up into 9th position behind Kujela. Again, shout out to Kujela in the leading VGP2 driver for Forza. And again, Forza now running in 6th and 8th position, which you have to say would be a fantastic opening round for that team. But yeah, very, very close here between Prohaska and Kazanik. This is really great racing, as we're now about 3.5 minutes away from that final lap. This is really great stuff.
Oh, yes, it is. It's been mentioned before that it's not difficult to get the old adrenaline levels up, and that's for us sitting here. What must they be feeling like actually behind the wheels of this thing, being, punching, counterpunch in this kind of situation? They must be sweating like crazy. And a couple of those moments from Kaznik, he must have been really clenching, like, please slow down, particularly when they were coming through Variante Alta. But here again, Stefanko trying absolutely everything to usurp the mighty Michael Schmidl. But so far, he has been thwarted at every turn, as he was last season. And I'm sure that must be playing on his mind as well. Nothing he did worked last season, so will he be able to do so again? He's been chasing him all race long. This will be a real test of his mental strength as well as his driving ability. There's no doubting how good these two are. But, this... It's got to be something for Stefanko. He's got to do something just to kind of get out of that mindset of, what can I do, as opposed to this is what I'm going to do. So it's going to be a real test for both of them, of course. But of course, Schmidl being a strong victor last season has that momentum already behind him. What can Stefanko bring to the party?
I believe we have 2 laps remaining after this one. So after they finish the lap they're on currently, I believe we're going to have 2 more laps. So Martin Stefanko with about 2 1/3 laps to try and make that overtake. I don't know what he can do in the final 3 minutes of this race that he couldn't do, in the opening parts of the race, in the first 40 minutes of the race. I don't know what kind of difference that's going to make as we look backwards on board with Sikora. We can see that Acer car getting very, very close to that rear wing as we get into Tosa. Now he's going to try it around the outside, very close to making contact there. Extremely close between the two drivers. You can see the Logitech car in the background there as well, of Kovacic getting involved. This is a very tight 3-way battle, and again, these guys should have 2 laps remaining after this one, so this is very much up for debate. Oh, you can see the Logitech car, how close he got to the back of that Acer car through the high-speed left-hander as they crest that hill. Really incredible stuff. Sikora here, I think, is having a hard time because he definitely seems slower than Rigel, I have to say. Rigel seems like the faster driver out of the two, and I believe this is going to be the penultimate lap now for the leading duo of Schmidl and Stefanko. Oh, yeah, and it has indeed come to blows there, and it looks like Rigel got ahead, but then went very, very wide at the chicane, and that's going to lose him that position once again to Sikora, but he is going to manage to stay ahead of Kovacic in that Logitech car.
That's the problem with trying to move a Variante Alta. You have to try and outbrake the person you're trying to overtake, but it's so narrow going through there. It's then very hard to slow down and keep the line. You saw how wide Rigel had to go to stop the car from spinning. The reason they go that far out when they've tried a different line is just to keep the car stable. But here we go again. For these guys, the penultimate time over the line. Is he going to try a dive on the inside of the first chicane? No, he thinks better of that one coming into Trigado. It wasn't heavily defended by Sikora, but then it didn't need to be. So now on the exit of Tamburello, heading towards the Villeneuve chicane. Again, Rigel having a look at the inside. That's more distraction tactic than anything else. You've got a 3-way battle behind them, as well as both Chardas and Hertnecki in there as well. Oh, wow, did not expect Kovacic to make a move there. That kind of put Rigel a bit off his stride. I think he was looking to try and shape up a move into Tosa, and suddenly the Logitech car appeared in his mirrors. So, wow, that was no impact there, but here come these two. The two S's once again beginning the final lap.
Courtney looking good there as well, too, in P11. He's currently second of the VGP2 drivers. You have to say a solid first race for him as well. Looking very good, but here we go with this trio for the penultimate time into that chicane, and no funny business this time. Everybody's just going to take the racing line. Nobody's going to run wide. You have to say, though, it does look like the Acer car with a little bit better exit there. I wonder if he's going to challenge him into turn 14, but we rejoin the leaders once again. Stefanko not able to make anything happen just yet. Just absolutely glued to the back end of Michael Schmidl as they begin to climb the hill and up towards the highest point of this Imola circuit in Italy. And always great to be back for Imola. Imola says VGP is back. That's what Imola says to me. And it's been an absolute cracker of a race. It is a very challenging circuit, not just for overtaking, but just for being fast, being consistent. There's lots of gravel traps that can absolutely destroy your race, and we saw that happen. Oh, there we go. It's all kicking off once again, and Sikora made some contact. He's gone for a spin. Oh, that's not what you like to see. On the final lap of the race, he does manage to avoid making contact with his teammate, but that has got to be so frustrating as Sikora actually drops behind his teammate, Yaroslav Prohaska. That has got to be so frustrating again on the final lap of this race, but it is going to be Michael Schmidl in that Predator car who is going to come out of turn 15, out of Ravatsa. He's going to lead the way. He's going to lead the charge. He's going to lead the championship after this first race, and he is followed in very close quarters by Martin Stefanko, and that is definitely a good sign for the rest of this season. We can only hope that Martin is just going to bring that challenge even more so, but we've got plenty of battling still going on a little bit further down. The Logitech car up the inside on the Thrustmaster car through Aqua Minerale. The Avast car trying to get involved as well too. That's Herdnecki as well, who's trying to get involved in this. They're 2x2. Down the road they go. Are we going to see any side-by-side into... Yes, the Avast car's trying it up the inside. Can he get the exit that he needs? Yes, he can! That's a fantastic result for Herdnecki, but actually still side-by-side. It looks like he's just about going to squeeze ahead. Meanwhile, Sikora is... No, that's not Sikora. That's actually Prohaska. I apologize. Prohaska getting involved as well, too. Moving up ahead of one of the two Thrustmaster cars, but then he touches the other one, and Pichata goes for a spin. That's so unfortunate. Again, another spin on the last lap of the race. That's gotta hurt so much. That's gotta hurt.
Indeed, but that is the nature of the beast, and maybe a few words said about that these drivers can get penalties if the stewards feel that there was a little bit too much brute force going on, but what a way to start the season.
And we're going to just have a quick replay at that bump that sent Pichata into that spin. Thankfully, he did counter steer, got onto the brakes. It wasn't a full 180. He was able to keep going after that, so I don't think he lost nearly as much time as he could have done in that incident. And these are the final results for the first race at Imola. Again, it is Michael Schmidl who leads the way. Martin Stefanko, though, with the fastest lap and about half a second behind after all that racing. Plesny, in the end, does stay ahead of Chlebec. Blazek finishes in the top 5. Then it's Frabish, Thomas Prohaska, Anton Kazanik, Martin Kostulik, and Jan Sikora rounding out the top 10. And in the standings for VGP 1, it is Michael Schmidl who leads the way, of course, but only 1 point separating himself and Stefanko thanks to that point for the fastest lap, so it is very, very tight. Looking at VGP 2, it is Kujela that leads the way, 11 seconds ahead of Thomas Koreny, and then we've got Reigl, Kovacic, and Herdnecki. Those were your top 5 for the VGP 2 class. Absolutely incredible stuff. And of course, the championship looks very similar compared to the final standings in VGP2. And you can see those are the top 11 in that class. And in the team's championship, Acer leading the way, but it is very close with 4 teams tied for second position. Predator, Forza, Benzina, and Spurt all sitting on 10 points after that first race. Very, very tight from all of the teams. Looking very competitive, very exciting to see what's going to happen later on in this season. A huge thank you, of course, to the entire VGP team. A big thank you to Chris as well for joining me for the commentary. We will see you next time. Goodbye.